Now, as many of you know, after seeing this film, I immediately tweeted that it's one of the best films I've ever seen. But since then, I have been seeing a few reactions to the movie where people say, I was bored out of my freaking mind. And I just want to tell you that you have to be the type of person who would enjoy this type of film. You have to like sci-fi. You have to like westerns. You have to be a fan of hard looks in the mirror. And if that's not you, then maybe Ad Astra isn't for you. But I think it's a thing of beauty. Allow me to elaborate. So, I don't know what Brad Pitt is like in real life, but I'm really enjoying the super competent image he's cultivating on screen this year. Like, I would trust movie Brad Pitt to do anything, all right? But apparently, at the very least off screen, Pitt is a super competent producer. Projects both for himself and others. As we've discussed before, Pitt has an Oscar, and it's for producing. However, he has two moments in this movie, and it really is a one-man film. I mean, there are other actors, some of which you are fans of, so you might be a little miffed they don't have more to do. And they all do a fine job, but they're there to back up Brad Pitt's character's story. No one really stands out, I would say, except Donnie Keshawarts, because he's doing an excellent Rock Hudson impression. Like, it was a little bit, I was like, wow. And especially because no one really references Rock Hudson anymore. I was like, maybe Donnie Keshawarts knows that and is like, I'm going to be the new Rock Hudson because nobody even remembers him. And I'm like, that's A, sad, and B, you do a pretty good Rock Hudson impression. But it makes sense that it's really just Pitt, because Pitt's not only on a highly classified mission that he can't talk to anyone about, but from a storytelling perspective, it's crucial that he feel alone, detached, on the outside looking in, as we all do when we're having an emotional crisis. Or when it's Tuesday, life is hard, as I think this movie really beautifully illustrates. Especially when you, I think big and you strive for the stars, right? Anyway, Pitt's two big moments. One, recording a heartfelt message to his father. Not the first try. You'll see, you might be like, well, that wasn't so great, Grace. Wait a second. And the other, which I don't want to spoil at all, right? So this movie, along with his work in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, well, I actually felt for the first time, I mean, I've always been a fan of Pitt's work. I think he's surprisingly funny, for instance. But this was the first time I felt maybe he did deserve an Oscar for his acting. And what do you know? He says he's not going to campaign this year. But maybe that means he hopes that the work will speak for itself. It certainly spoke to me. Now, what does Ad Astra mean? I think that the movie misses an opportunity by not telling the audience that, either at the beginning or at the end. But it turns out it's Latin for through hardship to the stars, which is a ridiculously perfect title for this movie. It's just like another layer where James Gray nails it. And by the way, I have never enjoyed a James Gray film before, but I think that he really, leveled up here. Now, I found myself enjoying Ad Astra on two different levels, and I've seen some criticism of the film that it tries to be commercial and art house simultaneously but fails. But I think that it succeeds wildly in that goal, and that is exactly the two levels on which I enjoyed it. So let's start with the more obvious commercial side. Brad Pitt plays a member of the military's Space Command in the very near future, and the world building here is tremendous. I would say it's like Alien, but instead of truckers in space, it's regular people in space. I love that stuff. And while we've had a good laugh at Space Force recently, I gotta tell you, Space Command is pretty darn neat. And also, while we're rightfully trying to dissuade people from being into guns right now, I thought the space guns were awfully cool. I really was into those as well. I mean, an astronaut with a gun holster, striding through space is like an incredible image. And I think a big part of it that makes it so appealing is that Brad Pitt's character knows how to use his space gun. Like when he calmly half asks, half demands someone give him a weapon. I love that they use that word instead of just saying, give me your gun. It was like, someone hand me a weapon. I was like, this guy's such a professional. I love it. When they come under fire on the moon, that you get chills. It's just really cool. I don't want to give too much away about the world building because there are so many wonderful surprises. But I will say that as Pitt travels deeper into space, Gray brilliantly reveals little details about what it's like in the new Wild West. It's familiar and foreign at the same time. The movie is both awe-inspiring in its depiction, but also finds some very clever humor, as I said, in the ordinary in the extraordinary. And on that note, there is one heck of a cameo when he gets to Mars. I loved it. My whole audience was howling with laughter, not only because it was funny, but because it was just so unexpected. It was great. Such a good use of an actor. Oh, I can't wait for you to see it. All right, then there's the art house side of the film. A little 2001, a little The Shining. Two films that were also not appreciated in their time. The movie, I would say, is intellectual, but not so much that it's hard to get what the movie is saying. Like, Gray isn't combative with his audience. He's not challenging the audience to get the film, and if they don't, that's their problem. Gray wants you to get what he's saying, and that makes the film very engaging. The movie is very smart, and every single choice is important and has meaning. But overall, I think there are two overarching messages throughout the film. The first is that we're all looking to the stars for something greater than ourselves, to make us feel better, to make sense of it all. Be it God, other intelligent life, a better world, or just a second chance, or as the movie describes it, an escape. But Ad Astra is saying that the further away you get from Earth, the more you realize that everything you need and love is on this little mud ball that we call home, right? The film is very powerful in driving home the fact we shouldn't take this planet or our fellow humans for granted, even though they are deeply flawed and annoying, but it's great. Like, it's really good. The end of the movie was so good. The whole movie was great. I really thought this was fantastic. Now, the other message is about parents and children. For a long time in Hollywood, it was considered cool and accurate to depict children as hating or simply not thinking very much of their parents. But Pitt's admiration and love for his father is beautiful to see. And also how he both hopes to see his father in himself, but at the same time is terrified too. I mean, wow. Parent-child relationships are very complex, and it's difficult to put it exactly into words, which is why I think with these scenes, some of the most powerful moments have no words, or it's all in the subtext of what people are saying. And so that's a credit to the actors for conveying that, as well as James Gray's script and directing. All I can say about what Gray does in this aspect is that he's able to echo elements of not only my own relationship with my mother and my father, because it's the one-off, but both my parents, but also aspects of parent-child relationships I know about that other people have. It's all there. So I think in both regards, message 1 and 2 for Ad Astra, this movie will speak to everyone, at least on some levels. To me, it was like across the board. Loved it. And the whole movie, it's about trying to get to Tommy Lee Jones. Is he even out there? And if he is, what the heck is he doing? And I was like, James Gray, how on earth can you possibly live up to the expectations that you are setting for this entire film? And I can't believe it. He actually manages to live up to them. And that is extraordinary, considering how many movies fall apart in the third act. So that's my review of Ad Astra. Again, one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I have to see it a few more times, which I will. I already have my tickets to see it again this weekend, to know if I want to put it in my top 3 favorite films of all time. Not the best films ever made, but my personal top 3. And I gotta say, Rear Window is safe, but The Dark Knight, and Saving Mr. Banks are in a wee bit of danger. And when you go see Ad Astra, which again I highly recommend, obviously, I suggest you see it in a premium format theater. I've so far seen it in Dolby, and I'm seeing it in Dolby again, but I know it's also available in IMAX. But that's clearly the way it's meant to be seen. So that's my review of Ad Astra. I look forward to hearing your thoughts down below. If you have spoilers, mark them as such. Don't ruin the movie for people. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.